Alright, people, alright. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulih al-Mustafa wa ala ibadi alladhina irtada wa man bihudahum ihtada wa bi athari ahli al-Madinah iktafa wa ba'd. Fasalamu Allahi ala al-qawm. Ahlan wa sahlan. People, let me just bring the profile picture before you tonight. I should say weighing in the corner, but I've forgotten the weight. Look at that, a legendary inspiration for Muslims. People, we have Ty Mitchell, aka Akh-tive, right in the house. I'm just bringing him in right now. Assalamu alaikum. Alright.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ty, shukran, right, for coming on tonight, for
You're welcome.
giving us your valuable time. I'm just going to double check just before we start that the sound is coming through fine. I'm going to check on both. So people, YouTube, Facebook, I'm just going to bring up the stats to make sure the audio is going fine. Un momento. Alright, people saying wassalamu alaikum from the Netherlands. You're doing it, people. Right, so I take it you guys can all hear us fine. Right, so shukran, people.
You're welcome.
We've got those of you who are not familiar with Akh-tive, Ty Mitchell. We have a professional boxer, somebody from the Midlands, born and raised, converted to Islam, still very young, just in his late 20s, 29 I believe, is that correct?
Yeah.
29, yet having gone through a whole plethora of experience in life. Ty, in your words, for people who may not be so familiar with your background, your kind of, your angle, where you come from, a bit about yourself in your words.
Nothing too exciting really. I'm just your average guy, to be honest. I'm from a mixed heritage. My mum's white English, my dad's Jamaican. And yeah, I just grew up in Derby, which is in the Midlands, not far from Birmingham, it's East Midlands. Yeah, just I had a normal life. Converted to Islam, I think in 2013 or 14. I've boxed all my life, so I've always been doing boxing. I've been boxing since I was 7 years of age. So yeah, that's just a brief description, really.
Sure. And boxing, I mean, this is something you've been involved in at a professional capacity. Is this something you've kind of picked up because of your father being a kind of professional boxer, or is it something independently you've had as a passion, or is it a bit of both, or what is this?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a bit of both. I think offspring do tend to take a lot of talents of their parents, whether they're doctors. A lot of the times you see the child being a doctor, or footballers and musicians. It kind of a lot of the time the offspring do tend to follow in that footstep, probably just through genes and stuff. I was never forced into boxing though. So my father was a boxer, so I was always around it from ever since I was born. But then he started up his own boxing gym after he'd retired, and I was about 7 years of age. Okay. So I was always in and out the gym, but I always loved doing boxing, so I was always in the gym, and I just kept doing it since 7 years of age, really. Then I turned amateur at 11, and do some amateur fights.
Right, since 11. All right, wow, that's been quite.
I started competing at 11. I started training when I was 7. I started competing at 11.
Wow, 7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
Wow, that's. I mean, I don't know if you have memories from back then, but is that something? Because when we think now, like what people will say, what 7-year-old, this is too stressful for 7-year-olds. This is too, all this kind of pressure, all this load of trying to do stuff. I don't know. I mean, what if you started training at that age? I mean, do you have memories of that? Was it?
Yeah, so it's completely different training to how I train now. It was just like a group class for kids. So what they do is there was no head sparring or nothing like that. There was no dieting. There was no running long distances. It would just literally go there. You'd hit their mitts. You'd teach how to stand and throw punches, and it was just like teach how to skip. So it was just kind of like a kids youth class more than anything as a kid, because as most 7-year-olds, if you go there and it's regimented and regime and do this and it's as hard as it is as you're a professional, you're gonna be disinterested really soon. So It was just more of a kids class, and obviously the older you get, the more serious you take it. And you just grow into it. It's like a journey.
And right, and this conversion to Islam. I mean, is this something that has? Have you always had these questions of faith, or is it something that just happened in later years, or was it just circumstantial? Due to the circumstances, sorry, circumstantial. I mean, what a bit about that.
Yeah, I think inherently I've always believed in God. I think I was just born with that inherent feeling. I'm from a Christian family, but none of them practice. I've got maybe two in my family that practice. But as a whole, none of my family practice. They're Christian by name, but they don't really practice. But I think it's right to say 90% of my family believe in God. But they're just really not practicing on anything. They just kind of believe in God. I'm not sure if they believe in Christianity or not. I've never really had that full conversation with them. But me personally, I always believed in God, but then I just thought, well, I was kind of just like of the opinion that what most people think, I guess, our religion is just made to for power and separate people, and you're brainwashed and this and that. And I just kind of felt like my avenue was this. I kind of just felt like if you're a good person and you do good things, you'll go to heaven. If you're a bad person and do bad things, you'll go to hell. I was kind of just like black and white with it. Then I started to ask myself more serious questions. What is right and wrong? What's good and bad? Who decides what's good and bad? Because me, in my culture where I'm from, I could do an act and someone could say it's a good, and then someone could do another act. For example, I don't know, feeding. Some people say if you go and steal some money off someone, it's his fault, he shouldn't have left it around. Whereas other people say it's completely wrong. But it just depends on where you grow up and what environment you grow up in. Some people think violence is the answer to solve certain situations. Some people are completely opposed to it. So I was deciding in what's right and wrong then. Who decides what's right and wrong? So God must have sent down a book to let us know what's right and wrong. That's kind of the passage I went through. And then I started reading Bible, looked into a few kind of different religions, Buddhism. But then the only one that I couldn't find a fault with science. I think the thing is with the Quran that really brought me closer to open my eyes up to. I have everything. I never thought I'd be a Muslim. My sister, she converted probably 7 years before I did, and I used to, even though I was like happy, like we're really accepting family, boys said to me, look at you, you just going to be a little terrorist, this and that. I banned over, and I just thought I'm thinking I'd never be a Muslim. And you do, I'm like, no chance, bro. But then it was funny because when I converted, all my family was like, all the stick you give your sister over the years and that, and then look at you, and I said, yeah, the truth, man. You have to eat some humble pie. But me personally, I was the last person I thought would be a Muslim, even though I was interested in it from young. I think I was more interested in it to try and prove it wrong.
Okay, that's interesting because I've heard a few people say that. I remember there's an Imam, I'm looking to have him on here as well, Sheikh Adam Kelwick. And I remember having this discussion with him once, and he said that he's come across, the kind of converts he's come across, a substantial amount of them have been people who have looked into Islam, but almost to prove it wrong from that angle. So, okay.
Yeah, because like, I've not had no real close friends that are Muslim, but I've known people that are Muslim. And to be fair, they could have definitely explained it to me a lot better than what they did, because I was asking a question and they'd answer it, but he wasn't explaining it properly to the point where he made like it was a valid answer that made me feel satisfied. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense because of this, and that doesn't make sense because of that. Whereas if I'd have been taught and I had someone to explain it to me properly, I might have had a different viewpoint. But yeah, I was always against it because I was just a person. I wanted to go out, I wanted to drink, I wanted to be around girls. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to do that. And I'm thinking all these rules, and all I heard was rules. All I kept thinking is rules. Can't do this. Can't do this. Can't do this. So I used to just try and I say, yeah, well, do you know what I mean? Just push it to the side. But like I say, when I looked into it more and more and seen what was right in it, and it was like I've said, it's the scientific facts that you can't deny, things that science has only just proven recently. That was in the Quran 1500 years ago. Someone has to give me an answer where that come from then. Because I understand that there is in certain other books is things that have been foretold, but there's also a lot of there's a lot of falsehood in there. There's a lot of errors in there, whereas in the Quran there's not one. So how can somebody, if you say, because a lot of people try to say, oh, okay, then well, it stole it from other scriptures. Well, how would this person know to steal all the good bits that was true, but leave out all the bad bits that was wrong? Do you know what I mean? It's just probably the improbabilities is it's impossible.
All right. You know, you said earlier on about that you were you believed in God, but it was not so much. You never really thought about organized religion. So you grew up
Yeah,
in a society where you kind of felt, look, there is a God, there is a creator, but I'm not so sure about the church per se or institutions of
yeah.
religion. Do you feel that is the kind of norm? Is that the kind of norm amongst young people, or do you find them not believing in God altogether, or believing in
Yeah,
what do you
I
find
find them not believing in. I find them not believing in God now. As
altogether?
a whole, yeah, I feel like they just. I feel like as a whole, and I feel like I, I'd say 60-40. I'd say 60% say that they just don't believe in God, and the other 40% say that there could be a God, or they're ambiguous. They don't know. That they could be. We don't know. I think that's the most general consensus I get. That they don't know, and well, I don't know, and you can't prove it to me because unless you show me God, and then they're trying to just pick up something. Um, like I'll know for myself because if someone it doesn't want to listen to the truth because I was in the same situation myself, I'll have an answer for everything. Okay, then cool. This don't make sense. And if it's not answered in a way that I don't want it to answer, I'll just dismiss it. Which is what a lot of people do to me. But I have a lot of patience with it because I was the same person myself. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't. I understand where they're coming from because I was the same.
I mean, what would you, out of curiosity, since you've kind of maybe you still got a lot of friends that are, that ain't Muslim. I mean, and presumably majority of your friends probably are still non-Muslim.
Yeah.
What is this thing in this modern society? The thing that makes people say, well, I don't really believe in God at all. What do you think kind of shifts it that way? Is it just the fact that oh you can't prove it, or do you think, or is there more to it in your
I
perspective?
think it's just society. I think you just get people now, like you just random person from down the road.
Mm-hmm.
There's no God, and people are so easily influenced by what they say. I don't listen to words. For example, if I hear someone say something, I won't accept or disregard it. If I'm interested in it, then I'll go and look it up. I'm not going to take your answer for it, but at the same time, as I won't dismiss your answer. Whereas people are they'll read something on Facebook and take it as fact. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like if someone says something. So I think in our society now, God's not talking. It's kind of embarrassing to be
To
like
talk
people
about God, isn't
have
it?
yeah to have like even English Christians they're calling them Bible bashers. And if I'm a Christian, you're meant to be in a Christian country, and it's not cool now. So I think it's just a society. It's not cool to believe in God. So I think people have never thought that deeply about it, and they just kind of are. A lot of people are just not really interested. Just go about their life, and they're just bothered about making as much money as they can and having a good time while they can. That's what I generally see.
Now that you've become Muslim, have you found more people have approached you about religion, or not really, or has this become a
Yeah,
hurdle, or has it become
no,
something that has boosted your path, or neither?
it's no, it's so I'm very vocal and proud of my religion. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's if I will put something out a lot, especially on Facebook, you'll have the people that'll always have something to say. What a load
Okay.
of shit, where religion load of bollocks, which is going to happen.
Yeah.
But a lot of people also say, like I did an Instagram video, basically just explaining what made me be Muslim, the process I went through, etc., etc. And I put it up because a lot of people was asking me what made me revert, and it was kind of I can't just put it in a text. So it was like an 8 minute video,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a really good response. So many people was messaging me like, you know what, I've never ever thought of the things you were saying, and it's made me look into it. So as a whole, to me personally, it's had a very good impact, and it's asked a lot of questions, and even people that might not agree with me, they will respect my views in the way that I am, which is good, and it's a nice thing.
But you don't feel it's become a barrier for you in any sense? No?
No, not at all. No, I don't
Okay.
think it's become a barrier
Alhamdulillah.
for me at all. It's
Okay.
helped me if anything. It's made my life better. I'm a
Mm.
far better person now than I ever would have been because I feel like we all have a moral compass, but then
Yeah.
there's a certain things there's a lot of things where I think I would do differently if I didn't believe in God. I definitely would have made not. I definitely would have made more bad decisions if I wasn't God fearing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not perfect. I do a lot of sins and I repent of it, but there's a lot of things that withhold me. Whereas if I don't believe in God, when what is to me, there's no right and wrong without God. It's just your opinion. We have our own moral compass, but everybody's moral compass is different. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like I'm a far better person since being Muslim, so it's not hindered me now.
You see, when I see you, I see somebody young you're obviously a professional, you're confident, but I see you also very confident about religion, but wearing it in a very natural way. Like there's nothing. Uh, so even though you've said, look, you are very loud and proud about your faith, like, and you've got the name Akh-tive from the Arabic term Akh, brother, and you're very confident to say that in public. But you're not, you haven't changed your dress code to something like wearing a thobe, or you haven't kind of grown a very long beard, or you haven't. Uh, I mean,
I can't go a very long beard.
we gotta get
That's
some
not
of
my
that.
choice.
We gotta get some of that regain. You gotta put that regain
Yeah,
on.
I've got it now. Don't worry, I'm ready, man. It's pending.
I've noticed it's the ones who are so hairy. They're thinking, why am I so hairy? Why does the hair keep growing? And then there's
Yeah, you
those who
can't win.
don't get it.
Yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
But I mean, have people kind of thrown this up at you as like saying, look, how come you're not doing this? Why aren't you wearing a hat on your head? Why aren't you, or.
Yeah, no. So I'm gonna take you through the process. So what happened was I reverted in 2014, but then I didn't have no Muslim friends. I had a sister that was Muslim, but she lives far away, so I was just me on my own. I was just out there. So my imam was going up and down. I wasn't practicing. I was practicing. I wasn't practicing. But I'm a very all or nothing person. So it was kind of hard for people to take me serious because I just am what I am. I don't try and be fake. Do you know what I mean? So you might see me not practicing and doing something I shouldn't be one day, but then I might be praying and see me in the mosque the next day. But I've always come back no matter what. I've never not believed in what I believe, but my man's been up and down because the Islam I knew, it was just like, it was just a lot of rules. I knew I had to pray 5 times a day. I knew couldn't do this, eat halal meat, this, that, and the other. And it was just a very regimented thing. And I wasn't enjoying Islam. So I kind of did look like a hypocrite, and I kind of looked like my family especially, they'd be like, well, you're not even a proper Muslim anyway.
But do you feel that is hypocrisy? I mean, what?
Well, I think until you understand what Islam really means, it would look like hypocrisy because in an outsider's point of view, which is exactly what I know exactly what it's like to be because I've been there. If you could see a Muslim man, it could be this Muslim man could pray 5 times a day. He could give zakat. He could do this. He could do that. But then if you see him in a club, you automatically disregard him as he's not a Muslim. Like he's not even he's just one of them phony ones. Whereas you could get someone that you don't see him in a club, but they don't pray, they don't give zakat, but they've got a big beard and wear a thobe. And then you'll automatically think he's a practicing Muslim. So from the outsider's point of view, what I'm saying is we're humans, we're going to sin.
Stereotypes.
So so it's just so from their point of view is anybody that's not 100% on Deen 24/7, they're just like, do you know what I mean? But then, like I've said before, I think it was before we was recording.
Yeah.
For years I was up and down in my Oman, and I was just kind of just going on this journey alone because I didn't really know many Muslims, and I just didn't connect with it. I wasn't really enjoying it. Then my son loves Khalid Sadiq, and I come across him on Instagram. I was clicking for his stuff, and my son loves his music. He's Ya Habibi. Always asks me to play it. So I'd come across his Instagram just by chance. And
Khalid Sadiq is awesome, by the way. I'm sure everybody
here
knows Khalid Sadiq.
Such a good brother, man. So then I'd clicked follow on it. I followed him, and then it followed me back. And then one way or another, we ended up speaking. I think a few weeks later or a few days later, and then we'd ended up meeting up. He was in the area, so me and him we'd met up, and we just got on straight away. And it was like he was saying things to me where I was thinking, I didn't know other Muslims like me existed. I was thinking, where does this geezer come from? Like, there's other people like me. It's like it's like Tarzan going and finding the village. You know what I mean? In the film, like, oh, it's actually him. You know what I mean? It was one of them kind of things. So we spoke. We really got on. We just connected straight away. And then from him, I met Momadou. I met his brother Umar. I connected with Mustafa Briggs. A lot of the Baraka boys and a lot of people through him. And then through that, they exposed me to a completely different Islam I'd never knew.
Yeah, a very natural kind of very chilled vibe to it.
So, but initially I was thinking it's too chilled. This is not the Islam I know. Even though it sounds good and I like it, this is not. So they were saying things to me, and I wasn't disregarding it, but I was like, this don't seem right to me. What are these, man? Like, so I've gone back, I've researched, I've checked up on it, thinking, yo, like, what have I been doing all this time? So check this, I've checked that, the other thing, and I'm thinking, all right, so now I need to take a step back, learn, open my mind up, research and learn what the true Islam is. And since then, I've learned more in the past 6 months than I learned in the past 4 or 5 years. And I've literally learned so much, and it's been the best time of my life for that. And I'm so blessed. I think probably a few days before me and Khalid connected, I was making dua, and I was making dua, like, just help me stay on the right path. Like, I'm finding it hard. I don't really know nobody. I used to go to the mosque, I found it awkward. I didn't like it. I didn't really know. I felt like I didn't fit in. Everyone was staring at me, kind of thing. And then literally a couple months later, I've met all these good brothers, man, and they're so good, clean-hearted guys, and I've got a lot of love for them. And it's good, man. I'm on a good path at the minute.
I find sometimes, and I was saying this, and I know I mentioned it to you as well, and I was saying it previously to Imam Luqman, a guest on the show as well, that sometimes some people, when they come from such a kind of rough background or something, they feel that they need a lot of rules and like a regime, like something so regimental for it to work. But I find that the problem with things like that, this is from my perspective, is if there's that much pressure, like everything is about rules, everything is about, what happens is it snaps. This is what I find, that it does go for a certain while, this momentum, and then after a while, it's just gone. They completely disappear.
And you see what it is because it's so intense and so many rules, and so it's only going to be a matter of time before you start disconnecting from it.
You have
and then once you've disconnected from it,
effect.
And then you're just like, I can't. It's like I can't be Muslim. It's too hard. I keep trying. I keep falling off, and then you just don't want to do it at all. When if you just like that, the Islam I'm becoming familiar with now, it's just a natural. You're a human being. You're a normal person. You believe in Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and live your life. You know what I mean? Just live your life. There's certain things we know we can't do, but try to abstain from them. If you fall into mischief, repent and keep it moving. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a human being, man. Just live your life.
I've always said that Islam is something that's meant to complement your lifestyle. It's meant to complement your life, not something that impedes it, that makes it more of a struggle than it is. Because life can already have so many challenges, and your faith shouldn't really be a challenge. It should be something to assist you along the way in this journey. And there's in light with what you were saying as well, there's a hadith, it's actually in Bukhari, that inna hadha deen, that this deen, lan yushadda hadha deen ahad, that nobody will be so regimentally strict or struggle with, not struggle as in struggle with it, but will struggle against it, as in trying to hold on to it with such a regimental attitude. Illa ghalaba, except the deen will kind of just overcome him and he will snap. And so the Prophet said that take from this deen whatever you're capable of taking. That's and in other ahadith, and I know sometimes some people they didn't like when I used to teach that, look, inna hadha deen yusr, that this deen is one of ease. That people felt that that's making things too easy.
Some people don't.
Out.
Some people like that regimented thing, and it's like you're making it. And a lot of people are you're trying to accompany your nafs. You're trying to live to your desires, but not everybody's the same, and God knows not that everybody's the same. We never made us the same. Obviously, we have to follow the pillars of Islam. That's just a normal common
Yeah.
sense. But everybody is not the same, so they're not going to have the same view on life that you are. And I think the problem is a lot of people, like you said, try and take on too much that they can't do. Like, not everybody was built to be a hafiz. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone's going to memorize the Quran. God never made us with that ability. Do what you can do, and
Sure.
do you know what I mean? You can only do what you can do.
And
So I think,
everybody's
like you
been
said,
given some kind of skill. People have been
yeah.
kind of cut out for their own field. Yeah.
I was saying literally just in a group chat the other day with the boys, I was like, it's mad how much talent is in this group chat. And we're all completely different. So you've got music artists, you've got singers, I'm a boxer, you've got poets, you've got people that study Islam and do you know what I mean? And we're all completely different people. But we don't
Yeah.
but we all kind of stay in our lane and we don't try and be something we're not. We are who we are. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing, man. Just be real, just be who you are, man. Because there's only one of you and that's your power.
Oh man, that's absolutely so. Needs to be that message needs to be heard. Do you feel that now, being a Muslim and being who you are, having worked through professional boxing, you've sparred with a lot of professionals, you've got a lot of clout, Tyson Fury, other people you've been kind of working. Do you still work regularly with them, by the way, or do you? What's the?
Well, Tyson's more my friend, so me and
Okay.
him are like really close friends. But we do work together as and when. But I'm a southpaw, so a lot of people
Oh,
will hire me
left-handed.
to spar with him. Yeah.
All right, so am I.
So,
Doing
all
it. See, there's
right.
something about left-handed people. I'm telling you, born
Yeah,
legends.
yeah, trust me. So what they'll do is if because we're quite rare in boxing, I'm not really that rare as we used to be, but we're kind of not the norm. So they'll employ me for their camps when they fight in the southpaw. But I'm still in contact with them most days. I'm in contact with a few of the fighters that I do spar, but a lot of them are mostly my personal friends. Some of them I just use for we just business associates. We say hello and stuff. We get on, but
Yeah.
some of them are actually my personal friends, which is good.
But do you feel now that being in this position, being Muslim, do you feel? I don't know. This doesn't have to be, by the way. I'm just asking. Do you feel more of a sense of kind of responsibility, maybe towards I
Yeah,
don't know, like a community sense, or towards people? I don't know. Do you? Do you not? It doesn't have to be,
yeah.
but I'm just.
No, I do, and I worry that I'm worried of doing it in a disjustice. Is that the word?
And
Injustice.
injustice. Yeah,
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 and injustice, like because I'm just very real. So I have faults, and I am what I am, and I'm not a absolutely on the Dean 100%. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like a human being, and I feel like you can pick faults out with anyone if you want, but naturally, especially when boxing starts back up after this Corona stuff, and I start to hit the big leagues, and I'm on the TV and stuff. Naturally, I'm going to be in the public eye, and then I have an extra responsibility to act accordingly. And I do, and I think that's going to be a good thing for me because it will make me think, right, be more, hold your etiquette more better, act how you are more better, just be a better, nicer person. Like if I'm going to be nice, be extra nice. Show people because there's a lot of negativity against Muslims, as like everybody will know. So I can't just be nice. I have to be extra nice. If I do something, do it, but do it double. Do you know what I mean? Even though I try and do nice things anyway, but they definitely just feel like there will be people looking up to me, and I don't want them to see me in a negative light for sure.
yeah. I mean,
And I
what?
think, and also, sorry, on that
No,
point,
no, go
I
for it.
think, and I think I should have made it a long time ago, but there's been certain circumstances that stopped me from making it. But I think our last timing's perfect, and I think before I was never ready to be put in that position to handle that position because I didn't know the proper Islam. I didn't know myself. I just knew that I was a Muslim. I believed in the Quran, but I didn't really know enough about it. So I think our last timing's perfect, and it's just showed me more that I wasn't ready yet.
Like a
He's putting me in a
psychological
position.
maturity.
Yeah, I wasn't mature. If I'd have been put in that situation, I don't think I'd have handled it the best way I could have. Whereas now, I think I'm growing and growing, and I think when Allah, inshallah, puts me in that position, I'll be able to handle it that correct way.
I see. Uh, that's. Somebody said about my phone buzzing. I have put it on silent. I think that might be my earphones actually. Right, in we're hearing a lot recently with things like, and I mentioned this to you previously, things like knife crime on the rise amongst young people. there seems to be a rise in things like intro and inter gang wars and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I have said as well, I've discussed on some shows, is it that we're just, because there's more social media, we're more aware of it, or is it actually on the rise? Is a question. But I mean, the fact that it is there, we're hearing a lot about it, stabbings, things like this going on. Just in Ramadan, a few cases we've heard recently.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very involved with the youth. I mean, people do look up to you as an inspiration as well. I mean, do you, what's your thoughts on all of this? Obviously, I mean, I know the thing is horrific, but as a, can things get better? Is there a direction for young people? Do you think something could help the situation? Not really, or
I think there's a lot of dimensions to it.
mm-hmm.
I think it's very that kind of really frustrates me because I'm not from that life. So okay, I've been around. So I grew up. I was lucky, alhamdulillah. I grew up in a nice country area and a nice place. But at the same time, I've also been around the ghetto and around them kids, and where the boxing gym was in a rough area, and all these people that I've been around the place where the people are stabbing each other, and I know them, and my friends, and these are stabbing the gangs and this. I've never been involved in a gang, but I know the people in the gangs, and they're my friends from any side because I don't affiliate with none of that. But so it angers me because I'm thinking, go and have a straightener. Why are you stabbing each other? That's someone's son. Do you know what I mean? That's someone's this and you. But at the same time, that's me looking at it from my perspective. I've also got to look at it from the fact is they don't know nothing better. They've grown up. They go outside. They go on the estate, and they've not really got no ambition to be nothing apart from the next drug dealer who's kingpin. That's their only ambition. They see this person driving a flash car.
That question that I put there, do you think that it has increased, or is it just
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we are definitely a lot more aware of it now because of social media. So things get recorded straight away. So like them things are all on phones. People getting stabbed. This and that was years ago. That would never have happened. So I think we're definitely more aware of it. As it to it being any worse, I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that question because I don't know the stats. But it's definitely bad. Can it change? Anything can change, but it can't be easy. I think there's a lot of people that want it to change, and there's a lot of people that do good charity work and things to make it change. But I think it's going to be a process. I think that it's because it's so bad. And if you've got to think, looking at a kid that's 16, you're not going to go and pay. You're not going to go. All they're interested about is being rich and making money. You're not going to go. You telling them to get a job does not satisfy their desires one bit. They don't want to go and get a 9 to 5. They want a Mercedes. They want a range. They want gold chains, watches, girls. So unless you're going to go and give them 500 grand or 100 grand or something, they're not going to listen to you. So it's going to be hard to get to them when their aim is that. Do you know what I mean? Because they haven't got no skills. How else are they going to get it? And you're not going to. And it's not like these charity funds and organisations and youth things are going to give them any money, thousands of pounds. So people going and chatting to them, they're not going to listen to them.
What about things like boxing? I mean, not just there's an element of, obviously, as a sport, as a commitment, but there's an element of discipline, isn't there?
Yeah. So the thing is with boxing saved my life, and it's saved a lot of people's lives. There's a lot of people that boxing's helped immensely. Without boxing, I think I could have gone down a really, really bad road. And it's given me a lot of structure and discipline for sure. With other people is you can't make someone come to the gym. So it can only help people that want help. So if people want help, there's a lot of sports, there's a lot of schemes and a lot of avenues that people can help. But you've got to think is now these youths don't want help. They're not interested. They're not interested in coming to the boxing gym. The only time is when they see you doing well, they will then. Some people will message me and then ring me and say come to the gym, and I always try and encourage them, especially the youth, because the youth is when they're like kids, when they're like 7, 8, I think is very an impressionable age. That's when you should push them to the gym or get them in something and showing people. That's why I need to make it in boxing shows. Look, there's a ways out. I'm just another kid from where we're from. We're from Derby, and I've gone and made it. Do you know what I mean? So inshallah, I'll make it, and then I can say to them, look, it's not hard. I've done it. You can come and do it, and then it will make them want to do it. So, but when they're 16, 17, 18, they're not interested. It's kind of hard to tell them, I'll come to the gym thinking, what am I going to box for? They do a round and they're tired anyway. They're not interested. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to build nothing. They've not had it. they don't want to work for nothing when they can just go out and sell drugs and get it straight away.
So setting discipline really from a young age. You know what's interesting is that even the hadith to do with salah, when kind of trying to inculcate these habits, it says that teach them from a young age between 7 to 10 to get into the habit
How
of
does it?
salah. Yeah, it says that, and that you should even start getting more strict by the age of 10. And that it's interesting that you should say that as well, that you feel
Yeah,
from your
7, yeah.
experience as well.
Yeah, because I think 7, you're old enough to know what's going on, but you're still a kid. You're still pure, you're innocent, and you're not really being because you're not really going to be exposed to. Well, most people, you're just a kid. You're not going to be exposed. They're not going to be out on the street till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's an age where you should really. That's the age I started as well. I think it's just an age where you start to learn to love things. Do you know what I mean? So I think it is good for discipline. I think there's many things. It could be football, it could be basketball, it could be poetry, it could be rapping, it could be singing, it could be anything that you think helps you in your life. Then do it. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that religion, the lack of religion, is playing a role, or not really? Or what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think if you don't know God and you don't believe in God, then what you're scared of. Most of these people, to be fair, most of these people that I know, that they're fully down and ready to get cracking outside, but they're very respectful to the mothers. But the mothers can only do so much. As soon as they get out the door, they're another person. So they're not bothered about it. They're not interested in God. They don't even really listen to what the mum says. They're going out there putting other people's kids at life and putting their own life at risk. Do you know what I mean? So it's if they don't know God to be scared of. So I think if you know God and you believe in it, it's a cool thing. I think that's one good thing about the Baraka boys is they're very relevant. They know that there's normal people, and it's made religion cool again. It's cool. It's cool to be religious. It's cool to be. Do you know what I mean? It's not something. Oh yeah, you're just a little extremist, or you're just a little Bible basher. Like, we're just normal people. We get on. We all have our own little swag, our own little banter, and we're just normal people. So I think a lot more people enjoying in it.
Because it's almost kind of embarrassing to be religious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you faced that, or?
Yeah, of course. Like, of course I faced it, because remember, a lot of my friends are not religious. So when when I'm like on Dean and stuff, and I'm like trying to really keep my head down narrow and stuff, they find me boring because they want me to go and do all the things that they're doing. But so it instantly becomes uncool, because religion there's no matter what religion you use, you're gonna have parameters. So you can still have a good life and live your life, but there's certain things that you can't do. So anything that people don't want to do what they can't do anymore. They want to do whatever they want when they want, and if you can't, then it's uncool. Do you know what I mean? Naturally.
Yeah, but I find that we're in a day and age where, especially in the Western hemisphere, right? We're in a day and age where even to say, look, I believe in God, is seen as just kind of backwards and like, it's seen like.
And it's crazy, right? Because you're in a Christian country.
Yeah, it's ironic.
It's mad, and also, and if you, this is what flabbergasts me. Yeah, you're in a Christian country. If you say certain things that the Bible believes in, you can get prosecuted for it. You can't say certain things. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. It says this in the Bible. We're meant to be in a Christian country, and nobody believes. Like, the Bible doesn't hold no weight in this country whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
So. Which is what it is, isn't it?
Which is what I liked about Jordan Peterson, is that he was somebody that brought back this thing, at least mainstream, from a Western perspective, that look, it's okay to believe in God. It's not something. You can still be intelligent, you can still be sophisticated, you can be normal, but you still believe in God.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, I think music artists and sportsmen, especially footballers and Khabib, have made it cool. So there's a lot of religious people, whether it's Christian or
like
Hindu,
Mo Salah did probably wonders for. I mean, I don't even watch football, but I can say that he's probably done so much for Muslim relations.
There was even a song. And it was like, you see all the crowd singing it, and it was like, I can't remember. It's just a clip of like skinhead white guys cheering and chanting, and the song they were singing had something to do with
Like
if
if
Mo
he's
Salah wins us the league, we'll
then
go to
I'll
the
be
mosque or
Muslim
something like
too.
that.
Yeah, then I'll be
Yeah,
Muslim
exactly.
too.
And I'm
Something like
thinking,
that. Yeah.
mashallah, who else could? Do you know what I mean? Legend.
uh,
And Khabib's done a lot. I think there's a lot
yeah.
of rappers. You've got Khalid. You've got, do you know what I mean? His brother. You've
Yeah.
got Moya. There's a lot of people in the
Yeah.
avenues that are music based, and even like just even UK rappers, Jay Hustle, and they're all Muslims, and they speak, and
Yeah.
even people that are not Muslim, they all always hearing music now, Wallahi or Inshallah. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of it's kind of becoming like more popular in the music scene as well.
And what I really like about all these people, that you know, whether these sports, you know, whether you've mentioned Mo Salah or Khabib or you know, people like Khalid or his brother Omar or other people as well, rappers, is that all of them, they would treat Islam very naturally. So almost, I mean, maybe with one, you know, if they don't have additional props, if you saw them, some of them you may not know. Yeah, exactly. You may not even know that they are Muslim. With some of them, like you may think, well, you know, just a regular guy, or especially, I mean, in this country, you might see an Asian and you might think, well, he's Pakistani or something, so he's gonna be Muslim.
But
if he's not Pakistani, then you wouldn't know. Like with some of these people.
Yeah, it's happened to me. It's happened to me a lot of times. So I've been somewhere. I was even on a training camp, one of Tyson Fury's training camps in Bolton, and there was another guy there. He was from France, but I think he was Algerian, but I can't remember. And we'd been training together for a while, but he didn't look no different to me. I didn't look no different to him, but we're just normal people. And I think my prayer mat was out or something. And he said, "Are you Muslim?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Alhamdulillah." So I was like, "Oh, my thing, I didn't know he was Muslim." And a lot of people don't know, or I see a lot of people talking about Islam, and I'll be there. Like, say if I'm just going about my business, and in my head I'm thinking they would not have a clue. The last thing they'll think is that I'm Muslim. Do you know what I mean? Which is only right. Because not many mixed race people are.
I mean, and this, you know, looking into religion, being Muslim, learning about it, and you're studying Arabic as well right now. You're trying to learn Arabic.
Yeah. Mohammed's teaching me Arabic. I'm really enjoying it, man.
Momo, you're doing it, Momo.
Come on.
Right, so we've had Momo on the show as well, chatting about his studies and things. Right, so this has kind of led you to a lot of questions on things like salvation and maybe, I don't know, maybe other questions as well. I mean, what are some of these things that have been bubbling up and maybe why?
Yeah, so obviously I'm from a non-Muslim family, and I always had this question. Yeah, this is one thing that the question I always had before I was Muslim, and I always wanted to answer. I've never still had 100% satisfactory answer. I've had difference of opinion on a lot of it, but my thing is this: if you've got two families, one's a Muslim family, one's a non-Muslim family, they've got children. Naturally, the parents from a Muslim family are going to have Islam in the family. The child's going to grow up Muslim. It's his choice whether or not he practices it when he's of age, or to practice it or believe it. But he's exposed to it a lot more. Then you've got someone in a completely different foreign country. There's hardly any Muslims there at all. They know what Islam is, but they've probably got a skewed version of what Islam is, just territory. They've gone and lived their life. These two people, because this boy was born into a Muslim family and this boy wasn't, he's had a head start in life compared to this boy, because if you'd have swapped them places, maybe would have both lived the exact same life. So why should this baby or this person go to hell and this one go to heaven? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did look into it a lot, and I came up on a lecture from Dr. Shabir Ali, and he basically said it's aimed at people where you show them the real true faith, and there's no question in it, but they reject it for their own desires. People that have not been exposed to Islam and the true Islam, it probably is not going to be the same as someone that's been shown the true Islam and then reject it.
No.
So that's that.
Absolutely. I mean, that has been a question, especially so often from people who convert to Islam, but other people as well. Regular Muslims do ask that about salvation, or this, you know, what can be called salvific exclusivity. Is salvation just for some people as opposed to everyone? And how do you get on that ship if you're not Muslim? Because even though there's so many Muslims in the world, but the majority of the world is not Muslim, So, and
Yeah.
and Imam Ghazali had actually written about that almost 900 years ago in his book, where he says, where he speaks about tafriqa, and he makes a distinction, and he says that the Byzantine people in his day and age in the Middle East, which is modern day Turkey, he says that the Christians there or the non-Muslims there would still fall under salvation, because he says, well, Islam has become kind of distorted. It's been made to appear barbaric, and that's his day and age, not his 900 years ago. So today it's very seen as very barbaric. People see Islam as, misogyny, terrorism, backwardness, and they see it like, so that face of Islam has long been lost. And the other thing is that certain ulama have said that kufr is really to understand Islam as it truly is, and then out of arrogance to kind of reject it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that they're not arrogant. They really want to find the truth. They want to sit. Like, I've got a friend that I told you who's Christian.
Yeah.
She 100%. All she wants to do is please God. Yeah, she's got no. From mine and her conversations, I've known her for years, and she just seems like a good, clean-hearted person. And all she wants to do is serve God best. And she feels like she's on the right path at the minute. She says, if I'm on the wrong path, then I pray that God guides me. And if I end up being Muslim and that's the right path, then that's where I go. But I'm thinking these people that are generally all they want to do is salvation, and that's their intention is that they fully believe that they're on the right path. Then how are they going to get? Do you know what I mean? Why would they?
Yeah. No, I totally understand.
What I mean? Send that again. I didn't see that.
All right. So, okay. No, I totally see what you're saying, and I do get that. And sometimes some people have said, that for the listeners as well, that this does depend only. Some people have said maybe converts struggle more with this, but I felt personally this is a dialogue that many kind of even Muslims, many people in the West growing up have struggled with this. That look, is salvation, because sometimes it's preached as no, everybody's going to go to kind of like everybody's going to go to hell apart from Muslims, and it's a bit of a scary thing.
And even a lot of Muslims think that they believe in this 72 sects and that. So you've narrowed it down even now by another 72%. So it's like it's turning out that it's going to be not many people going to be there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like so hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's going to be hard to get in there.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned that your sister was already Muslim way before you. Has that led to certain intra-family dialogue on Islam? Not really, or what about?
Say again.
You said in your family, your sister was Muslim. She had embraced Islam before you, and used to kind of be like, "Oh, nah, this is take the mick and stuff like this." Now that you have become Muslim, has that led to certain like dialogues between you or things like this about Islam, or not really? Has it led to debate even, or?
Yeah, so I say the mikhav all the time. But like, you little terrorist, bro, you look at because she's wore hijab and never took it off. She don't wear the niqab, but she wears she wears a hijab and stuff. But I look at her all the time. I was like, oh, look, you look like a Demento in your black gown, and very, very like fully like have banter with her, or, like, but like not like do you really mean it? I was just like bantering with her about it.
Yeah.
But then obviously I ended up regretting. So, but we have different school of thought. So she's a Shia, and obviously I don't follow that. But she is really. So I've not spoken to her about really about Islam for years, but when I first read, so she'd say stuff, and I've been thinking I ain't got a clue what you're talking about because I didn't really know much about Islam. Where she's like really knows what she's talking about and stuff. But the way I see it, she believes in the messenger and Allah and his messenger.
Absolutely.
So I just leave him. If she feels like she's on the right path.
No, alhamdulillah. I was just thinking maybe that now you're both Muslims. Sometimes it leads to debate. Sometimes it leads to more kind of I don't know, like
I do sometimes ask her opinion on certain topics, and she'll ask me my opinion. But as a whole, we don't really talk about it that much, to be honest. I rarely see it because she lives so far. We speak on the phone and stuff. But really, no, we don't really just talk about general life, to be honest.
And in terms of generally learning and reading, I mean, what do you because you've mentioned a bit before that, look, you yourself, you're trying to develop your knowledge of Islam. A lot of this has been through you're learning Arabic, you're trying to learn Arabic, you're trying to do, you're listening to certain lectures, maybe reading. Is this, I mean, do you find yourself like in an absolute minority amongst people, let's say your age, or is this the norm? Do you find people are very, they want to still, they are still learning skills, they're learning things, they're doing things?
Are we talking religiously or in general?
In general, because I mean,
Yeah, a lot of
a
my
lot of
friends read.
your
Yeah,
circles are probably non-Muslim. I'm assuming.
all of my
All
friends,
of them. Okay.
apart from up until recently. So until I met Khalid and his brother, and that all of them was non-Muslim.
Okay, so that's intriguing. Do you find people are generally at your age reading, developing, enhancing skills?
Yeah, I do. I
You
find
do.
a lot of
Okay.
people read a lot. So a lot of people do read a lot more than I thought. A lot of people do read, or they try and
Wow.
learn a skill, or they try and yeah, a lot of people do. I do see a lot of my friends trying to learn new skills, whatever it might be. They do try and have little
Hmm.
hobbies, and they've all got their own little
So
avenues. So
there's
it's
hope for
good.
humanity then.
Yeah, yeah. I think this generation's kind of bringing it back. It's quite surprising. A lot of people do
Uh,
like enjoy to read
here's
now. It's good.
here's me thinking that people don't like reading or they don't like
A lot of
learning.
people don't. A lot of people are on video games, but my circle of friends, a lot of them do read. Yeah, which is
Okay.
good. Me personally, I like to. It depends on what it is. I like. Sometimes I have to read something to get it in, and sometimes I have to watch a lecture on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it depends on what it is, especially when it's Islamically. It depends.
Yeah, right. Doing it. That's. I mean, that's. It is ultimately this. This. It is but a journey, isn't it? This whole thing, faith, development, going through life. Nobody really has all the answers. We're kind of, to some extent, we're all kind of winging it.
Yeah,
We're
it's
kind of like just going along. I see Riddy's done a lot of comments. Riddy, I will be getting you on the show as well. That's an awesome brother as well. Currently from the UK, currently in the Mamlaka in Saudi Arabia teaching. He's got some.
okay.
I don't know if you've
Mashallah.
heard. Have you heard of Ibn Battuta? By the way, Ibn
No,
Battuta.
no.
So Ibn Battuta in English or Ibn Battuta in Arabic, he was north from like modern day Morocco, but he's from like 700 years ago. So he's a legendary kind of historian geographer. He's not a historian. He's somebody who sets off and travels and writes down
Yeah.
his journals wherever he went, and he became
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
really
Yeah.
famous because he goes to so many countries and describes their cultures and along the way, every place he stops, he gets married. So he kind of like every place he stops, he marries and then settles there for a short period, then moves on.
He lives some. He lives some life, didn't
That's it,
he?
and Riddy is our Ibn Battuta. We've got to get him on the show.
Yeah, well.
All right, so what would you? What are some words of advice for people that are, let's say, they're watching this show, Ty? They're thinking, you know what? Look, I'm. Let's say they're young. They could be anything from maybe their late teens to, or even teenagers, right up until like their early 30s or something. People that are looking at you thinking, well, okay, well, I haven't got a head start in life. I haven't, my father isn't a boxer, or I haven't been brought up in these crowds, but I want to make something of my life as well. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're not Muslim. These people, they're watching you. What would you have as a message for people like that?
I just think that a lot of people that are successful came from nothing anyway. So saying you come from nothing is an excuse. I think anybody can make that. I never got given nothing. I never got given nothing myself. Obviously, Um, I wasn't like home. My family looked after me, but they didn't give me. They give me my essentials. They give me food. They give me clothes and stuff. But I'd never got given nothing. So everything I own, I bought myself. Obviously, I got gifts off stuff, but predominantly everything I own, I got myself. So I think saying that I've not got a head start in life. Most of the people that have made it haven't had a head start in life. If you want something bad enough, you will make it. You will find a way. I'm really one of them people. Is a lot of people say make sure you've got a plan B. I'm not one of them people. I don't have a plan B. I've never had a plan B. I will be
All
world champion.
right.
Yeah, no plan B. I will be world champion because anything else, if I'm not world champion, I failed. That's the only thing career-wise that I'm going to do, and I'll make it one way or another.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you have to be so tunnel vision and get it, but there's many ways you have to. You know what it is. You have to find what it is you want to do, and your passion. Everybody's passion is different, and don't do what your friends are doing because you want to be like you. Just be what you want to be. Find out what's inside of you, and to just work towards it, man. And you can change your life. So many people can change your life. You can do anything to change your life. I've not had the best past myself, but I've changed my life. I refuse to live there no more. I live my life. I am the way I am now, and you can't change in the past. You can't help the situations you put in sometimes, but you can change them and be whatever you want to become. So don't let nobody put you in a box. Do you know what I mean? And when it comes to religion and stuff, the best advice I could give is forget anything anyone's ever taught you, and just be open-minded. Be honest with yourself. If it's true, it's true. If it's not wrong, if it's not true, discard it. But one thing is just be open-minded. Don't have a preconceived conception of what you know, because if anybody was not going to be religious, it was going to be me, and now look at me. So just be real with yourself. Do you know what I mean? And then you can make up your own mind. You're your own human.
Like, think deeper. Like, people
Yeah.
take their thoughts to new levels of depth, really. Because, I mean, I don't know. Do you find maybe in your circle, but I don't I don't know. Do people generally think so deeply? Do you find people generally thinking deeply?
Yeah, I do and I don't. I think I don't know. There's people that come to me personally. Like I've had messages, and they are deep people. Like one of my friends I went to school with, I grew up with, just a white English boy, and just lives just like in the same area that I do. And he actually messaged me the other day saying, "Have you got a copy of the Quran for me?" Or asking me a question about the Quran, because he's saying, "Do you know what it is? I found life very dissatisfying. Even when I was Muslim to a point before I met these like recently, I found it I was very unsatisfied with life. Like I even thought to the point where I was just unhappy all the time. I just thought this isn't satisfying me at all. And then I thought even if
when you're saying unhappy, depression, not depression, or
I think
borderline,
slightly
borderline, yeah.
Yeah, I think borderline. Yeah, I think I just wasn't. I was just very disinterested. I didn't find nothing. It didn't fulfill me. Nothing fulfilled me, and I just felt like even if I won the world title and this and that, would I be happy? I'd say like momentarily I'd be happy for a bit, and then I'd just be back to like, oh, is that it now? What else is next? Because nothing, it didn't quench my thirst enough.
A discontent,
you know what I mean?
A kind of discontent.
Yeah.
So what?
And
okay.
And even when people used to describe heaven to me, they'd be like, oh, you can drink, you can like clothes grow on trees, and I was thinking, you can go to the shop and buy clothes. You know what I mean? Like, there's alcohol here. Like the things that they were telling me, I was thinking, there's like rivers flow under. I'm thinking there's a river down the road. Like, oh yeah, but you can drink it. I've got bottled water in the. I was thinking, is that it? Like, and it until I started really looking into it, and I think that really comes from your relationship with God. So that's what I'm trying to get to now, with knowing God and God consciousness. Because without that, you're never going to be satisfied. Me personally, I wouldn't have been anyway. I was very dissatisfied with things, and I think a lot of people have asked me that are not Muslim, are searching for more answers. They're not satisfied. Do you know what I mean?
Have you feel that you've kind of emerged gradually out of this discontent, or is it?
Yeah. So
okay.
The more I'm getting to know the real Islam, the happier I'm becoming.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, so the more, because like I said, I was Muslim for years, but I didn't really enjoy it. The Islam I knew, and I probably didn't even know a great deal at the time. It's like I learned my namaz really quickly within a couple of days. I did this and that. But then for years, I didn't really learn nothing much. I kind of, anything I did know was self-taught from lectures and stuff. But then when I got to know a different kind of Islam and that fitted me, it's becoming a lot better. And now I'm on a stage of, okay, cool. Now it's starting to flourish in me. It's just becoming better and better. Now I'm trying to work on my relationship with taqwa and God consciousness, knowing God, Do you know what I mean? I think knowing God is the biggest thing that anybody can do, because then you'll feel a true peace. And I'm on that journey to getting that.
Because I have found a lot of people. I don't. You see, I've discussed this sometimes on a previous show and on Monday nights with Mufti as well. That I found a lot of. In fact, with Momadou as well, we discussed this on urban anxiety on this MindTrap show. That I find a lot of young people today, maybe from, let's say, age, I don't know, 6, 17 even, up until like 25, you get this range of people that this discontent you're speaking of, it's really kind of massively present. It's not just, I mean, everybody has some level of discontent, but it's really wearing down on them. And I kind of try to contrast it with when we were, because I'm, much older, when we were young. And even though, I mean, I don't know if I feel it's worse today. I could be wrong, but I feel.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, a lot to do with the social media? So everyone's comparing their life. So no matter what you've got, no matter what woman you've got, no matter what you've got, you can just go online and see someone, this woman's better, or she's different, because you see your woman every day. You go and see another woman, it looks better. And then, you've got a car, you go and get a better car. So you're always comparing yourself. So I think social media has a big impact. Like, for me personally, a man my age, all the man wants, women, best of cars, this and that. I've had it all. I went for a time where I was just living my playboy life. I was around loads of women, didn't satisfy me. It was just nothing. There was emptiness. I tried to substitute. I buy cars. I buy this. I buy that. After a week, you're bored. So I'm thinking this world has not got enough to offer me. And then that's when you think, it's because you're far from alive.
But he's still single. People, reach out to him. All the women. Okay. But but this social media thing you're saying is so true, because I do find a lot of people, and sometimes what I think is that when you have certain struggles met in life, like certain baseline necessities, what happens is you start to think more about, like, whereas if you're struggling to, I don't know, get food, and you're struggling to get things, you're in survival mode. But sometimes, as you kind of, as a civilization, progress out of survival mode, you start then having like an existential angst. Like, you start thinking, what's going on in life, and why ain't I on this? And these are token victories that you're saying, like, oh, what about that woman? What about that girl? What about this car? What about... Yeah.
It's not a, there's between being happy and being fulfilled are two different things.
Wow.
It's easy to find happiness. So I used to, because I've got a short attention span. I think I'm kind of something that needs something all the time. If it's not fresh, it's not new. I get bored, disinterested really quick. I'll buy a motorbike and I'll go on the track every time. I'm not interested in it. Cool. Then I'll buy a car. Bored. Then I'll start playing golf. Bored. Then I'll start playing tennis. But then and I'm trying to find something. Do you know what I mean? And it's not because I'm trying to fill a void. It's not the material things that I'm losing, that I'm not gaining. It's something within myself, my relationship with God. I feel like anytime I'm far from God, I get down and depressed.
Wow.
Or every time without effect. So I could be happy. People say money don't make you happy. Yeah, money does make you happy, but it doesn't fulfill you.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
I really like that distinction you've made there, because about being happy and being content, this kind of fulfillment, because it's so true. And I definitely agree with you. Money helps. There's no, you'd rather have money than be poor. I mean, I definitely agree with that.
All money does, the only thing that money does is makes your life easier. You don't have to worry about bills. You can go on holiday. You can buy cars. That's not happiness. It just makes your life easier. It doesn't make you happy. It makes you happy. It doesn't fulfill you. It just makes your life easier. Because I know a lot of people, they have not got much. They've not got much, but they're happy. You can even see, if you look on some of the documentaries, you've got kids in Syria, kids in poverty-stricken countries. You go and give that kid a little toy. He's the happiest kid. There's bombs flying over their head, and they're running up and down. They're pure, innocent kids laughing. And then you get kids that have got loads of things, and they're brats and are unhappy. Do you know what I mean? Look how many famous people commit suicide. They're millionaires. But they're not happy. Do you know what I mean? And you get people that have not got much. You get people, just a standard family, and then they're in a loving marriage. They have a loving family, and they just live a bog standard life, but they're fulfilled within each other and their life. And mashallah, I'm happy for them. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think this is something that from a young age parents teach to their children? Like I don't mean it has to be taught through, it doesn't have to be taught as in today's lesson is this, but it's taught as a life
Indirectly.
lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem with parenting, I think a big fault with not just parenting humans is we teach people how to make money. You go to school to learn how to make money. You go to this to learn how to make money. Your parents get mad if you be great to make money. Teach your kids how to be happy. Don't teach them to be rich. Teach them to be happy. I think that's a very big lesson. That's one thing I always try and keep in mind because I do want my son to be successful. And that's not saying don't give your kids an education because it's very important to educate your kids.
Of course.
But it's more important to teach kids to be happy. There's no point.
And by happiness,
everything.
we're saying like to be content. Like even if you know these kind of lessons that, and the reason I'm saying this is there was even though I mean in childhood our childhood would have been different to young people going through childhood today, but during my travels as well, I met so many people because I studied abroad for several years who had this approach to life that look, it doesn't matter, anything you get is a blessing, like just get on with it. And when you see it so much and you see people immensely struggling yet they're still smiling, and you see it every day almost or every other day, it kind of leaves an imprint. So to teach children that look, like it doesn't matter, like let's say they haven't got the latest thing or they haven't, but this is an amazing blessing just to be kind of have that contentment.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of people have said to me, I've been before I can accelerate my career, I've had a lot of obstacles in the way, so it's holding me back from a good number of years. And people are like, "Why are you always so happy and stuff?" I'm like, I 100% want to get back to professional boxing and reach my pinnacle. But at the same time, I'm so blessed in so many other ways. Like I've got a son, he's 4. He is the biggest blessing. Like that could I don't care about boxing. Like I've got my son, my family. Like I'm very lucky to have most of my. I've still got 3 grandparents. I've got my parents. I've got my family. I've got my sister. I've not really lost, apart from my nan and one of my grandparents. I've still got. Do you know what I mean? I've still got. I'm very lucky that I've not had no real tragedies in my family. Do you know what I mean? Like to a certain degree. I'm so blessed in any other ways. I'm not poor on the street. I'm not. So I think gratitude has a lot to do with people's mentality as well. I think if you're just grateful for what you've got and stop thinking about the stuff you've not got. I think we're a nation of people that are very ungrateful. We always think about what we haven't got. And I'm blessed in so many other ways, man. I'm happy. I'm a happy person. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that obviously I get sad about, but as a general,
I would feel that you see, gratitude is often, I mean, it doesn't have to be exclusively, but I feel is powerfully linked with God.
Yeah.
Like, because when you've got somebody to be grateful to,
yeah,
you see, it changes the paradigm, doesn't it? Because you can still be grateful in society
for, but not to.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can still be grateful for, you know, like having family, friends, blessings, being, you know, not having illnesses, not having, but yet it's different when you're being grateful to, because it's much more much more present then, or much more kind of active. I don't know. That's I would feel that. That's
active,
Akht-ive. All right, Akht-ive. That's the champ's boxing name, by the way, people. So tell us about this name. Yeah, because
so I wanted to come with something original, man. There's so many. It's kind of hard to come with an original boxing name. Everybody's got names. So you've got the Hitman. You've got, I don't know, KO. You've got Gorilla. You've got you've got all these, the Upsetter, all the usual. So I thought, I had Magic for a while. Then I thought, then I changed it to Starboy. I thought it was a bit childish.
Starboy.
It's like a bit childish. So then I had a light bulb moment. I was like, I'm quite active, and I thought, active, Akh-tive. Yeah, that will work. So like I say, I'm very proud of my religion and stuff. But only like most people, unless you're not familiar with the term Akh, you won't understand it. But we know what it means, so it's
Akh-tive.
Cool.
Have they had difficulty pronouncing that? Because when they're reading it,
no, they just call it Akh. Yeah, they just say active.
Oh, they just say it's active.
Yeah.
I thought that was slick, active. I saw that. I was like, doing it.
It's definitely original. It's definitely original. I try to be original as I can. So it's definitely
Hell
original.
yeah, man. Hell yeah. So, what about things like Ramadan? Are you finding this a struggle or not really? Or
I don't find fasting hard at all.
okay,
Like when it comes to iftar, I
what's your
could
secret?
happily.
Our secret is we just eat food on the side.
I think I don't know because I just do you know what it is? Naturally, I don't eat till late at night anyway. So
Ah, right.
if on a normal day, I don't normally eat till 4, 5 anyway
Hmm.
because I just don't really. I get up, I don't eat, I'm not hungry. I never eat. I can't eat when I first get up anyway, and then I'm about doing bits and bobs, and by the time I eat, it's not till 4, 5 o'clock anyway. So by the time it comes, and I think also when I do a weigh for a fight the day before, I don't eat nothing at all. So I'm used to going for nearly more than 24 hours without eating or drinking anyway. Because I have
24
to drop
hours.
the water.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
because of training.
yeah. So
Ah,
when I
right. Okay.
before a fight weighing, which is the day before a fight, I have to get down to weight. So I don't eat or drink hardly. I don't eat anything or drink next to nothing for 24 hours, and I'm just used to it. I can do it kind of easily. I kind of accustomed to it now.
All right. See, he brings some
I'm
experience to
lucky.
the table. He brings some
Yeah,
cheats. That's not.
just start boxing, man.
Speaking of boxing, tell us some, in your life, highlight moments when you were boxing and things like this. Anything, like, oh, this happened on this particular event, or any kind of, I don't know, something
Do
stand
you know
out.
what? Do you know what's mad when I box here? Is you see when I watch the tapes back,
Yeah. Do you watch
I
yourself
never.
back? Do you,
Yeah, so I
the
watch the
whole
fights back all
thing?
the time. Because, yeah,
Okay.
I always watch them back. Go on YouTube anyway, so you can watch it. Um,
Hypercritical of yourself when you watch back.
yeah, because I always feel like I'm doing better. When I watch it back, I'm like, that's a bit sloppy. But what's funny enough is whenever I watch them, and I always get people say my friends come to the fights, I always get me to send all the videos straight away from after, and I never look at the fights first. I watch the video about 4, 5, 6 times, and all I'm looking at is my family's reaction. I don't watch nothing else, and it's such a good feeling to make my family proud
How,
and
how,
seeing how
how are
happy
you
they are.
watching their reaction?
Because I'm watching, because I'll watch it. Say someone's recording on the phone, you can kind of see outside, and then you can see outside the ring a little, but you can't really fully see their
Okay,
reaction.
okay,
But you can see on
okay,
certain
okay,
videos I've got, you can see where they are in the
okay,
crowd, and I'm just
okay.
watching them or
Uh,
my friends, and I'm thinking, I never watch myself. I just watch them, and it's such a good feeling to think, you know what, I'm doing something, and my friends and my family are proud of me. That's the best thing about boxing for me, really,
all right. What
and the
weight
paycheck.
was it that you?
Yeah,
Does it pay well, boxing?
it can do, can do. Yeah, it depends.
Right. And what weight were you boxing at? You were boxing at
Um, I've gone down to super middleweight,
super middleweight. Okay. And what is
which is
that? Up
12 stone.
until 12 stones.
Yeah, up until 12 stones. But you walk around a lot heavy. You normally lose like 2 stones. So I walk around about 13 or 14 stone. But then within the training camp and losing the water and stuff, you go down. And then you. But what will happen is, so I will literally be dehydrated when I get on the scales. I'll be 12 stone. But the fight's not till the next day. So I'll rehydrate myself and I'll box the next day at 13 stone. So you normally put a stone on overnight when you rehydrate yourself and eat and
To
stuff.
to meet the weight, how many days would you need to kind of get to that? Would you be able to
Oh, so
lose it with?
it's so I'll come into camp.
And all of you
Camp's normally 6 days.
dieting, this is it. This is the secret right here. This is it.
So what we'll do is I'll come into camp 6 to 8 weeks before, and I'll probably be about 14 stone. A lot of it's water and a lot of it's fat because I always eat loads of junk food between fights. Everyone that knows me, anyone that's got me on Instagram, they'll know my love affair with pizza and chips. Cheese to my pizza and chips, it's second to none. I eat it far too much. But anyway, yeah, so I always put on weight in between fights. So for 6 to 8 weeks, I'll be on a strict diet, a calorie deficit, and I'll just train, drink loads of water, and I'll get down to probably like 12 stone 6 before the day before the weigh-in.
Okay.
Then what I do is I just cut out all water and all food like the day before. I'll have a
Just
little bit of
pure
water
fast.
in it, just completely fast.
Is
I'll have
it
a little bit
like
of water.
is it like saunas and
Yeah,
steam
well, it depends.
rooms
Where
and
it can do that if you don't catch it right. But if you do it right, you don't need to do it. You just cut it out and you drop. And normally you'll wake up on the weight or just underweight. You're weighing at 12 stone, so you just literally just shredded, but you're just like weak. If you're about to fight, then you wouldn't be able to throw a punch because you're weak.
how many days is it till you have to
This is the day
recuperate?
before.
Oh, the day before. All
Yeah, so the
right.
weigh-in's always the day before the fight. So you weigh in, and then you'll go. So you're probably waiting normally like 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, yeah,
Okay.
or 3 to 6, and then you'll fight it probably 10 o'clock the next night. So I weigh it 12 stone, but by 10 o'clock the next night I'm like 13 stone too. So you put it on. See, no one's actually the weight they weigh in at anyway. So then,
what are your thoughts on that? The thoughts on, let's say, if boxers were different weights whilst fighting each other. Do you feel that would make a substantial, significant difference?
Yeah, because if you're 16 stone built, and you're powerful, and then you're boxing someone that's 10 stone, if you hit this 10 stone person, you're just gonna knock him out. But on a split side, but on a split side to that is this 10 stone person is gonna be fast as anything, so you got to catch him first. But if you get someone, so like say light heavyweight, which is 12 stone 7, or super middleweight, we're kind of in the middle where we still hold big power, but we're still quick. Whereas the lighter you go, they're very quick, but like less power. And then heavyweights have got more power, but not as quick, even though you do get quick heavyweights. So we're kind of in the danger range. So for me to go and fight a 10 stone person, it's not fair, is it? Like, he's not going to be able to hurt me. He's 10 stone, do you know what I mean?
All right. No, I've just thought that because I mean obviously that is the logic behind boxing, but I know in some other sports they don't really take a regard for like weight and stuff like this.
What sports?
I mean, don't they? Isn't it in some other kind of combats? It's not so much.
I think rugby and stuff, that kind of combats, but I think in like MMA and kickboxing and all that, I think it's all weight categories. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all weight categories.
All right. So I mean, that's interesting to hear from your perspective.
I've given away fights. I've boxed people like loads heavier than me. So the last tournament I went into, there was 2 weights of women. I was super middleweight. They was cruiserweight. They was like 14 stone.
Okay.
So I can choose to give up weight if I want to.
Okay.
But like it's not mandatory. So a light person can fight a heavy person, but a heavy person can't come down and start fighting light people. Do you know what I mean?
And how did that go for you when you went?
I had 3 fights on one night and I knocked them all out.
All right. Akh-tive. Doing it.
Had to show him, man. Had to show him.
It's gotta be done, man. Gotta be done. All right. So that's. Do you find as a boxer, within boxing specifically, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm not too familiar with sports anyway, but boxing specifically stands out with almost a legacy of Muslim celebrities. Do you feel Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and do you find this is in some way an inspiration when you're in the ring doing the art, or not really?
To be fair, never before. So I've never really kind of put the two together. I've kind of just boxing's my box. Boxing's like a kind of my work, and Islam's just like my normal life. But obviously, the bigger I get, the more out there I get, the more titles I get. It's naturally going to become a part of it because I'm associated with it. So it's going to ask questions. People are going to know about it more. Do you know what I mean? So it'll naturally become more part of it. So that's why I need to make sure I'm clued up.
Billy's in the house. All right, man with the van. People, if you need a van, right, there you go. Billy's one of our lads. He's asked a question. Would you fight Aamir Khan?
I can't find him. He's too small, man. He's only like 10 stone.
There you go. You got the answer, Billy.
Yeah, he's too small, man.
All right. So that doing it. I wanted to ask. As this kind of slipped my mind, but it was an important question. As a Muslim now, with most of your friends, most of your family, non-Muslim, how do you still partake in just regular kind of like family celebrations? How do you feel? Has that ever been an issue? I know some Muslims have taken.
You're talking about Christmas and stuff.
Yeah, like Christmas, and there could be other events as well.
Yeah. So what I do is I will partake in them per se. So I will go there. I'll go and have a celebration with my family, but I don't celebrate the meaning. So I don't believe Jesus died for my sins, and I don't believe that his birthday was on that day and stuff. Yeah. But I'll go and spend time with my family. I'll go and eat food with them.
No, that's very good. I actually agree with that view, by the way. I think
it's my family. Yeah,
exactly.
A lot of people have a very think, oh, you're going to tell her. I'm like, I'll go to a Christmas party with my family and I'll wear a Christmas jumper. That does not mean all of a sudden now I'm committing shirk and I believe that Jesus. I've got a Christmas jumper on. That does not change my belief system. I fully stand steadfast in my belief that Allah is his final messenger. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How does now me putting a jumper on or going and eating food with my family on a certain day, then saying it just doesn't make sense. It's not even logical. Like Allah knows what's in my heart, and He knows that I'm not. Do you know what I mean? It's a pagan festival where I'm not celebrating the meaning of it. If I was going to celebrate the meaning of it, you'd have a valid point. I fully know it's not that, and my family know I don't believe that. I buy my son presents because I don't want him to feel left out for the rest of the family.
No, exactly.
But also buying presents on Eid. But I don't tell him that Jesus, it's Jesus' birthday and this and that. It's just we're going to a family party. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's part and parcel of the lifestyle of society by and large, which is I feel
culture.
Yeah, and I feel it's detached from religion, even in society generally. Like people don't.
No one. Most people. Let's have it right. 90% of the people in this country that celebrate Christmas do not believe in Jesus anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's nothing to do with the meaning of it. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it is for certain people. I shouldn't have said that. It's not. I'm not saying it's not to do with the meaning of it. A lot of people don't see it as that. They just celebrate it as it's just a cultural party, basically.
Exactly. And I had on one of my Monday nights when it was Christmas, I put on the Santa thing just for a bit of a laugh. And I know it upsets people sometimes, and sometimes I do it on purpose. To just
that's why you did it.
Push the buttons to wind them up, let them know. No, but my point is, I had a similar thing on Halloween. That I had said that look, these things are just cultural, that they don't today share any kind of pagan, religiosity with it. Whether it did hundreds of years ago or not is irrelevant, but today it doesn't. So if your child wants to dress up on Halloween and I don't know, go to a Halloween party at school or something, this isn't shirk. You don't need to be so insecure with your faith. That's the.
I think what you've got to understand is God knows our intentions. It's to do with intentions.
Yeah.
If this was a pagan festival and our intentions are pure, God is already the greatest, so it's not going to deteriorate Him in any form whatsoever. It's not going to impact Him. It's not going to, even if all Muslims, He's the greatest no matter what we do. So He knows what's in our heart. If it's harmless and we don't believe in them traditions and what they're saying, then what's the problem? I'm not committing shirk. What you're on about?
No, that's.
Do you know what I mean? My intentions. It's all to do with intentions. I believe, and if your intentions are clean and pure, then keep it moving. But if you don't want to do that, and that's what alhamdulillah, you do what you've got to do. That's your prerogative, and that's your right to do what you want to do. But don't think that you're all of a sudden got right to tell people what they can and can't do.
And I'm so glad that you can confidently kind of do that. You can confidently embrace that, because I feel sometimes some people, they lack the confidence to embrace it, and then I've had people reach out to me sometimes say, well, for years they've cut off their families because their families are non-Muslim, and I found that so that's just such a sad state of affairs.
They say heaven's under your mother's feet.
Exactly.
Whether your mother's Muslim or non-Muslim.
Exactly.
You've got to be kind to your parents, Muslim or non-Muslim. Why would you then? What person's okay then? So what message is that giving out now to non-Muslims? What about a non-Muslim wants to revert, but then they all of a sudden thinks I can't be part of my family no more? So if I take into this religion, I've got to then enter this religion and then exit my family. It's ridiculous. No one's going to want. Who's going to want to come to a religion that teaches that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm really glad to hear that as well. That and
I just say what I believe. I'm not like a yes man for nobody. I have certain beliefs now that I didn't have, and the more knowledge I get, I will learn more and more and more. But I'm not a yes man for no one. I believe what I believe. If you don't believe, if we don't agree on this, then alhamdulillah, you do what works for you, and I do what works for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But the message, it's interesting because the message of Islam has been so much about keeping ties, about kinship, about like honoring even the neighbor. In a hadith, the Prophet said that you don't even have faith if your neighbor sleeps hungry whilst you have a full stomach. Now, to that extent, that in a hadith, the Prophet said, there's so many rights even a neighbor would have that I feared that perhaps God would even make him inherit. Like, I was getting worried, like, that there's that many rights. But this is just, regardless of faith. And then you've got actual family, people, whether they're siblings, whether it's your parents, whether it's your children or outer, uncles, grandparents, whoever. But yeah, I mean, so that's, and religion should never be something that severs. It should always try to kind of bring people together. That should be the...
There's so much as humans we agree on. I don't understand why there's so many, and I see a lot of Muslims doing it, trying to divide, and you're this and I'm that, you're that sect, so you go over there, and even trying to divide amongst ourselves. Never mind the human race. There's so much we agree on as human beings. There's so much we've got in common as human beings. Like, let's just enjoy what we agree on. No two people you can get people from the same family, from the same mum and dad, that are different. Different, like 99% of the time, you have two siblings, they're completely different personalities.
Absolutely.
So everybody's different, man. There's always so much segregation. I'm not for it. If you're a good person and I like you, man. If you're not, then I just keep it moving.
Have you had people trying to sign you up into their sects?
Not so much. Not so much because, like I said, I don't know no Muslims. So I didn't know any, did I?
That's probably been one of his greatest blessings, believe it or not, ironically.
Yeah. I remember my auntie had died, I think a couple of months ago, and she was 100 years old, mashallah, when she died.
Wow.
But I put rest in peace Auntie on my Insta status, and Muslims popping up, you can't say rest in peace, she's a kuffar. I'm like, what? Like, just going in, and I'm just thinking, like, if they was like people, if they was like, if a non-believer come to them and try to get advice from them, the advice that they would be giving, you wouldn't want to be. It's just going to put you off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've got a detailed video, in case anybody's wondering on this, to do with can you. I'm trying to think of the title, but it's to do with Stephen Hawkins when he died. So this thing began because certain people said, "Oh, rest in peace," and other Muslims kind of said this is haram. So I made a video about it. Was he was the excuse, the pretext, but the message was generic. That can you say rest in peace or make dua? Can you send prayers for people who are non-Muslim that have died? And I said that yes, you can. And I said that look, even if you look at the message of the Quran, the famous dua that a lot of people sometimes read in their salah, that Rabbi ja'alni muqimus salah, this dua in the Quran is on the tongue of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and it says Rabbana ghfirli, that Allah forgive me, wali walidayya, and my parents, yawma yaqumul hisab. And here Abraham is an old man. And we learn in the Quran that Ibrahim alayhi salam's father did not embrace the faith. He was in fact very harsh against him, yet he's still making dua for him. So I said that, and the biggest thing is that, and it's about character. Like if religion has made you a bitter person, if it's made you a more harsh, hurtful, less empathetic person, then what you found is something else. Yeah, you haven't found God.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you found.
You found
what
something
you find,
else.
You need to go reevaluate it real quick. 100%, man. I think if you see so many people, that's a lie. That's a big exaggeration. Not so many people, but you see a lot of extremist Muslims with extreme views. You think you have not become a better person from you converting. This has done no good for you whatsoever. I don't understand what has put you on this path to then become so like aggressive and cutthroat and just like, do you know what I mean? That's not how the Prophet was. He was a soft, humble, nice person. I don't understand what you're on. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what you're reading, but it's not the Islam that I know. So if that's what works for you, do your thing, but that's not for me, so I'm gonna do mine. And don't tell me how I should interpret my religion. I'll interpret it the way I read books and the way my intellect follows, and you do whatever works for you. I don't agree with you, don't agree with me. Let's keep it moving. Do you know what I mean?
So you see that none of those things have really, Islam hasn't been a barrier in any of those things, alhamdulillah, not in your life, not in your family. What about relationships? Has it been a
Yeah.
So all the viewers watching
What's this phrase? I'm too halal for the haramis and too haram for the halalis. So trying to find a happy medium. No, yeah, it definitely has because obviously I'm not from. I don't really know. I don't know no Muslim girls really, unless obviously like from around where I'm from. I don't really know none. Obviously, I've got
Now don't
a
start
friend who's a
spamming
Muslim.
his inbox after this.
No, yeah, spam it. Yeah,
Oh, go on then, spam it. What the hell?
um, so I don't really know none, so it's kind of hard to like. You can't just go and who's going to introduce me to them? Do you know what I mean? So it's only like I've not got like Muslim sister. Well, I've got a sister, but she lives far. I've not got like a Muslim family, or I'm around. I don't really know. Like even to the point where I'm so not around Muslims. When I go to one of my friends' Muslim houses, I fully don't know how to act. I'm like, do I say hi to his mum? Do I shake her hand? Or look like, do you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, oh, like he's very uncomfortable. So I'm not really around him. So it can be a hindrance because I don't really know him like that. But I think Instagram and stuff can make it a lot easier. But it's not. Yeah.
Is that you? Instagram making it easy.
Making it easy, man.
All right.
Muzmatching that now, Jake. Yeah.
If you see that profile on Muzmatch, there you go. Look out for the tattoos, the tats. It's all about the tats. What is that tattoo, by the way? What's the tiger? All right.
Yeah, tiger.
Oh, yeah, I can see it now. All right.
Yeah.
Doing it.
I'm gonna get a haram police onto me in a minute.
Right.
Tattoos.
I have actually said I've got a clip saying that I don't believe tattoos are haram. They're not forbidden. And I've kind of explained that because in the past tattoos weren't what tattoos are today. So today tattoos are like a kind of fashion accessory, whereas in the past people were brandished and they were kind of disfigured, or they were the way they kept cattle and animals, or they kept slaves, or they kept or sometimes tribal, but it was kind of done it wasn't a mark of beauty or a mark of fashion. It wasn't something like that. And yeah, so the whole thing this is a very recent phenomenon. And I do explain that there are several scholars, like especially within the Maliki school, that did say that many of these things, even if they're discouraged, but they're not haram in that sense, yeah.
When it comes to certain things, if there's a difference of opinion on it, like say if scholars have a different opinion on it, I take it as it's halal and the reason is this: the easiest thing for me to do is to worship God. So God shouldn't make it. If I'm meant to here to worship God, it shouldn't make it hard for me. It should just make it. It should be easy to worship God. It shouldn't be hard to find. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when there's difference of opinion, it's not clear cut. Like we all know that we should pray 5 times a day. We all know we shouldn't eat pork. We all know that we shouldn't drink alcohol. We all know we shouldn't commit zina, adultery. These things are clear cut. There's no, but things with big difference of opinion, it's not clear cut. So it's not. It shouldn't be made hard to find out. Oh, I'm trying to find out all these riddles and do you know what I mean? Like
I totally agree.
So
with
if
you.
it's not, so I find that anything that's there's difference of opinion on, I just take it as it's not haram because if it was haram, you'd know about it.
Yeah. What about this giving up pork? Was that an issue?
Yo, you see what? I stopped eating pork when I was 12, so years before I turned
right. Okay.
Muslim.
Why so out of curiosity?
Because my family is Jamaican, so half of my family don't eat any. My dad doesn't eat pork, so
it's
I kind of
Jamaican
follow him.
Jamaican.
Yeah,
thing,
so a lot of Jamaicans, because obviously Rastafarians are from Jamaica. They're not Rastas, but it's a culture. They don't really do it. So I found
Billy,
as a whole.
if you're listening, Billy's in the house. Billy's Jamaican and Reedy. All right.
Oh, I'm original.
All right. So
so I stopped eating it. So then I'm now, so I stopped eating it. My sister stopped eating it years before, and now my 2 little brothers, they don't eat it. My cousins don't eat it. So none of the males in my family don't eat it. I don't think, or most of us don't eat pork. Most of the females eat it though.
All right.
Yeah, but most of the males don't.
So
yeah,
okay.
pork was fine.
But it's never been a craving because you stopped it at a young age.
So so I'll tell you what happened. I used to eat bacon and ham and stuff when I was a kid growing up. Now the smell of it repulses me. I wouldn't even eat it. Even if it was halal, I still couldn't eat. I can't even eat. You see the turkey bacon. I can't eat it because it reminds me too much of bacon. It makes me it's horrible and so no, I can't eat it. So it wasn't it.
Momo is saying Ty's a fake Jamaican, lol. Momo.
It's hurt, man, because I said him about the proper music and that.
That's just because Momo ain't Jamaican.
Yeah, trying to duck you in and that.
Right,
It's hurt.
that's it. Momo, stop hating. Stop hating.
You know, he's on
Cool.
the official hater list.
Right. So cool, man. You know what? I think it's we've gone on quite. I know we've taken up quite a bit of your time. You're probably going to be
It's
doing
been a pleasure.
sahur soon. It's been awesome. Is there anything you'd like to say before you go today to viewers, and maybe a message or something, or you want to share
Yeah.
your Muzmatch profile?
So my Instagram's Untitled Official. My was my what should I say? I don't know, man. Just be nice to people, man. That's the thing. Message. Just remember, we're human beings, man. Just be nice to people, man. I think once you just accept the fact that not everybody's the same, not everybody is born to be the same. Allah didn't make us like that. So just accept the fact that people are different. They're gonna have different opinions, different views, and then just enjoy what our common grounds. Just be nice to people, man. I think
Yeah,
that's the best thing.
that's so
Just be
so
respectful.
simple yet so profound. I mean,
Yeah.
that is so simple yet so profound. Shukran, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. People
Jazakallah.
do if you do reach out, do follow. The Insta account is Ty Mitchell, isn't it? Ty Mitchell.
Time Mitchell Official.
Ty Mitchell official. Sorry, I forgot the official. Doing it. Ty Mitchell official. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Watch the videos, like them, spread the love, people. And shukran once again. Much love for coming on. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala. I'm going to put up my exit page. People, make sure you're liking, subscribing, and putting it up now. Right, much love. Take care. Stay.
Is it that way?
It's that way.